Hi, my name is Robin Love, and I am a certified yoga therapist and the founder of Hatha Yoga, an online yoga school. Today, our practice is going to be a meditative practice around that I've considered as part of a series on finding and practicing contentment. So according to the Yoga Sutra, contentment is something that we have to practice. It's not necessarily something that just naturally arises. We actually have to make an effort. So this practice is really in that vein of doing something so that we can feel contentment. So for this practice, we will be seated, laying on our back, and on our hands and knees. You might also want to have some blankets and a bolster or some cushions so that you can feel supported and comfortable in any of those positions. I'll make some suggestions, but please do what feels right for your body. And in fact, if there is any point along the way that's not working for you, please trust yourself and do what feels correct for you in that moment. So we're going to start in a seated position, comfortable seated position. If sitting crisscross leg is comfortable for you, you might like to sit that way. You could even sit in a chair. If you're sitting in a chair, make sure your feet are connected to the ground. Otherwise, as you settle down, you might like to close your eyes. Begin to turn your attention inward. Let's do a little check-in. So however you entered into this practice, whatever you've been doing, whether it's morning or later in the day, just take a moment to settle and just do a check-in with your body. Is there anywhere where you feel tension or holding, a contraction? You don't need to change it or do anything. You're just noticing. And we're going to connect to our breath. So this practice really uses the breath, your breath, as your guide. So if your eyes are closed, keep them closed. If your eyes are open, please set your gaze downward. Is there a way you could even soften the gaze? And as you exhale, settle into your seat. So there's a sense of a kind of downward motion of the exhale as you settle down. And as you inhale, let's sit up nice and tall. So lengthening the spine, sending the crown of the head up towards the ceiling. Next exhale, maybe you let the shoulders relax and drop away from your ears, softening your jaw, softening your face. And we'll do that a couple more times. So the exhale has a sense of settling down, and the inhale is a sense of your spine being nice and long. Maybe you even tuck in the chin just ever so slightly. And we're going to do a kind of breath. It's called Shitali or Shikari with some movement of our hands. So I'm going to take off my glasses because the movement of our hands is we're going to bring the palm of our hand. So palm, meaning like this part of our hand, is going to come up and cover our eyes. So there's a way that this bony edge around our eyes sort of fits quite naturally with the edge of our palm. So it's a little cupped. There's no pressure on my eyes. I'm just cupping over my eyes. So we're going to combine this with a particular kind of inhale. If you can curl your tongue, then you'll curl your tongue, and that's how you're going to inhale. If you can't curl your tongue, and it is genetic, so there's no good or bad attached to it, If you don't have the genetic makeup to curl your tongue, then you're going to press your tongue against the back of your front teeth and inhale that way. So you're either inhaling like this or like this. Either way, you inhale through your mouth across your tongue, and you might immediately discover that there's a kind of cooling sensation that happens when you do that. And there's a sipping noise too, either way, or you'll hear the inhale. So that will be your inhale, inhaling through your mouth across your tongue. And then you're going to bring the tongue in or close your mouth. And then as you exhale, you'll bring your hands up from your lap and cover your eyes. And you're going to move at the speed of your breath. So inhaling, close the mouth and exhale through the nose. Let's do 2 more, so keep going. Next time you bring your hands up to your eyes, leave them there and just breathe normally, naturally. Let go of that mouth inhale, the shitali or the shikari, and just let your head rest into your palms. Still no pressure on the eyeballs. Maybe just give your neck and shoulders a little break as you support the weight of your head through your hands. And you could even maybe open your eyes into that cupped palm of the darkness that you've created. And just as the eyes are open into the darkness, there's a way that they can relax too. So you're just giving your head, neck, shoulders a little break, maybe even the eyes a little break as you cup your palms over your eyes. Breathing slowly, steadily, but no conscious control. Just 1 or 2 more breaths like this. And this is the extra treat. Let's just do some circular motions, maybe along our jaw. Very gentle. This is like as if you were touching a baby or a kitten. Just very gentle with the fingertips, circular motions, anywhere that might be holding tension, even down your neck. Just a loving touch. I invite you to close your eyes if they are not already closed, or keep the gaze downward and call to mind a situation that feels unfinished. Could be a situation, a relationship, Just something that's alive with you right now that feels unfinished, unresolved, maybe even uncomfortable. I like to say first thought, best thought. I didn't invent that, but it's a good one. So don't work too hard to pick and choose. Just let whatever arise to arise. We're not going to stay here very long. So letting go of that, we're going to come onto our hands and knees on the mat. If you need a little extra cushion underneath your knees, please feel free to put down a folded up blanket. Just don't make it too high up. So a folded blanket is perfect. And you're going to come onto your hands and knees so that your knees are underneath your hips, tops of the feet flat on the mat, and your shoulders are above your wrists. And we're going to let our hands be broad on the mat. So each finger has its own space. Once you find your comfortable position here, and you can see I'm just wearing my regular old clothes. I'm not even dressed in any special yoga clothes. So this is a practice for any time. You don't even have to wear special clothes. So on your inhale, we're going to do that nice, long, slow, steady breath. Inhale. So you can feel it from under the collarbone. So we're not going to so much just use our neck. We're going to have more of a sense of a lift from under the collarbones. And the head looks up, but you could even keep that little bit of a tuck under your chin. As you exhale, you're going to draw your belly in and arch the back up towards the ceiling, softening the elbows and dropping the head. Inhale, start the inhale, then start the movement looking up. If you can, breathing through your nose, exhale, draw the belly in, arching the back, dropping the head, softening the elbows. Next time you get to an exhale, as you draw your belly in on the exhale, can that help guide the hips a little bit back? As you still arch the back, drop the head, soften the elbows. Inhale, return to that upright position. Exhale, draw the belly in, send the hips back. Maybe you go a little further next time. Can you feel some length in your low back as you start to move back? Keep going like this. Maybe your hips get all the way down to your heels, or maybe they don't. It's completely up to you how far you want to go. What feels best for you today? So keep going like that. Let it be an exploration of curiosity around what would feel good for you. Keep going like that, finishing the one you're on, and then we'll do 3 more. So finish the one you're on, inhale, come back up and do 3 more like that. Moving at the speed of breath, breath leading the movement, and only going as far back as feels comfortable for you and good for you today. So if not going back at all feels best, you're welcome to stay just up on all fours, continuing that way of moving that is essentially expressing the breath, lifting from the chest and then drawing the belly in, arching the back on the exhale. And once you're finished with your last one, no rush, because we're really valuing and honoring that nice, long, slow, steady breath. Once you're done, we're going to come and lay on our backs on the mat. And if you're someone who needs a little extra support for your neck, feel free to use your blanket as a narrow pillow. Again, we don't want to be cranking our neck too much at this point. So really the goal is more like having your nose pointing directly up to the ceiling. So finding a comfortable position on your back. Maybe your hands rest somewhere on your torso. You could have your eyes closed. And again, gently connecting to the breath, keeping that nice, long, slow, steady breath. As you're ready, let the arms come alongside your body, and we're going to lift one leg off of the mat. The knees are bent, feet about hip width apart, arms alongside the body, and just taking one foot off the mat, you're going to catch your kneecap in the palm of that same side hand. So I'm using my left leg. So my left hand is connected to the palm of that left knee. On the inhale, we're going to stay in this position for now. So my arm is straight and my thigh is a little bit away from my torso. As I exhale, I'm going to again draw in the lower abdomen, and the knee and the thigh is going to move towards my torso. So I'm going to exhale. And it's not that I'm pulling with my hand. It's really that the exhale itself is creating that space in the lower abdomen so that the thigh naturally falls towards my chest. If you're more comfortable to have the leg a little wider than hip width, and then so that the knee comes to the outside of your torso. For some people that feels much more comfortable than directly over the torso. So a couple more breaths like that. You could even start the breath, the component of the breath. So maybe yours, your exhale, and you start the exhale. You could even do half of your exhale before you start the movement. It's a pretty small movement. You could start the inhale, then let it move away and the arms straighten. Let's do a couple more like that. We're going to switch up the inhale position. So next time you inhale, let's send the foot up towards the ceiling, and the arm is going to come out to the side and land beside you on the floor. I'm flexing my foot, keeping my knee a little bent, and then exhale, returning to the exhale position, drawing in. Inhale, sending the foot up, foot is flexed, the arm lands on the floor, getting my elbow and my fingertips on the floor, and then exhale, drawing in. So again, breath leads the movement. Moving at the speed of breath. Let's do one more like that. And letting the foot come back onto the mat. We'll switch sides. So we'll start the way we did before, just catching the palm of the same side hand on the knee. Take an inhale here, exhale as you draw as the thigh basically draws itself in. My hand is here, but I am not pulling or tugging, or it's a very soft movement. As I said, there's not a lot of movement. So starting the inhale, then starting to move, and keep going like that. Again, adjusting as needed for your comfort. If you need to, the knee comes a little outside the torso. Next time you inhale, sending that foot up as the arm comes out to the side, elbow bent, you get the elbow fingertips on the ground as the foot flexes parallel to the ceiling. Exhale, returning to the exhale position. So keep going like that. Breath is your guide. Totally fine to keep a little bend in the leg that's moving up towards the ceiling. Finish this one, do one more. Then maybe you can guess what's coming. We're going to do both legs at the same time. So both feet come off of the mat, both hands land on the knees, and we're going to keep our legs hip width apart. So I don't have my feet together, my knees together, my thighs together. So we're not moving the legs as one unit. We're actually giving each leg its own space, just like we did with our fingers on the mat. So each leg has its own experience, basically. So nice inhale here. As we exhale, both knees now drop towards the torso, and you can see it's not a big movement. Inhale, they come away. They come away partly because my chest and belly are rising. Exhale, gentle drawing in of the abdomen invites them to come closer. And there's, again, a little bit of an opportunity in the low back to open. If you like, a little wider stance. Two more breaths like this. And then next time you come to your inhale, let's do the legs to the ceiling. So flexing the feet, both arms opening wide, elbows, fingertips touching on the floor beside you, flexing the feet, and then exhale, everything returns, draws to the center. Inhale, open up. Each leg has its own experience. Exhale, returning to the center. Movement follows breath. Really enjoying the nice, slow, steady nature of the movement. Let's do one more. Then we'll let the feet come back onto the mat, and you can Stretch your legs out if that feels good for you. If you have any low back issue, you might like to keep your knees bent. And we'll just let our hands land somewhere on our torso. Eyes can be closed if they were open, or just that sense of softening the gaze. We'll let go of any real conscious control of the breath. As you're here, you could even let the knees drop into each other if the knees are bent. So you're just resting, taking a rest, and once again, calling to mind this situation that is unfinished or unresolved, maybe even a little uncomfortable. And as you call that situation to mind, I invite you to consider, what is this situation asking of me? So this unresolved situation, what is it asking of you? And just noticing if your mind wants to go to a story about the situation. Can you draw your mind back to the breath? You could even chant a very soft Om or Ah to bring yourself back to the breath, back to this moment, back to just the situation and the question, what is it asking of me? So if you find yourself getting caught up in a narrative or wanting to create a story about the situation, call yourself back to your breath, maybe with an Om or an Ah, and ask again, what is the situation asking me? I'm going to let that go for now. We're going to roll onto one side, use your hands to help you, and we're going to come up again to our seated position. This time we're going to do that same shikari or shitali breath with the arm movement, palming our eyes. As we exhale, we're also going to, I invite you to, you don't have to, but I invite you to do a soft chant with either Om or Ah. So just to give some context around Om as a sound, Om is considered to be the sum total of the Vedas. The Vedas are ancient Indian texts that are considered to be a teaching on the truth with a capital T. So when we say Om, we're essentially invoking that. So it's important to know and not use that sound sort of lightly. So again, we will be inhaling through our mouth, either or through the curled tongue. And then exhaling, Om. Oh. 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 If you're not comfortable saying Om, you could also say Ah. 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 One more breath like that. I invite you to again call to mind this situation. And I would ask that you not change the situation. So we're still working with the same one. And I want you to imagine that you pick a flower with your non-dominant hand. So reaching out, you could even physically reach out, imagine yourself picking a flower and holding it up in front of you. Eyes can be open or closed. Call to mind this situation. It could be a person, a relationship, a more complex situation. And you're going to pluck a petal from this flower, just in the way you would if you were doing that loves me not. But in this case, we're going to pluck a petal and let it go. And with each petal, we're going to say something to the situation. You are going to say something to the situation, whether it's a person, a relationship, or a larger, more complex situation. So the only rule about what you can say is it has to be in the form of an I or a you sentence. For example, I am so disappointed. And then you let the petal go. Pluck another one. You made me feel so unhappy. Let it go. And you're going to keep going like this. Don't censor yourself. It's okay, whatever you have to say. So each one, it could also be positive. I love when you did that. You made me feel fantastic when you. The only rule is that we don't want to get caught in a rhetorical, circular kind of dialogue. So really, it's very direct. I statements or you statements, and each time you let the petal go. So with each petal, you say something. It's okay to repeat. It's okay to use curse words. It's okay, whatever comes up, just make it direct. I feel this. I did this. You did that. You made me feel this. That's the only thing that is the rule. And keep going until you exhaust everything you need to say to that unfinished situation. Take your time. I'm going to sit quietly while you do that. If you need to hit pause on the recording, please do. Again, if you need to hit pause, please hit pause. Don't take my speaking as an indication that you need to stop. Keep going until you've exhausted all that you need to say. Again, you can repeat yourself using any language that feels correct. Once you're done, and again, my speaking isn't any indication that you need to be done now. But once you're done, we're going to again come onto all fours and repeat that movement that we did earlier. So coming onto all fours, inhaling, letting the head look up. Exhale, sending the hips back. Keep going like this. Finishing the one you're on, let's do 2 more like that. And then we'll return once again to our seated, comfortable seated position. And one more time, we're going to do the Shitali breath with our palms and that quiet ah or om. So as you're ready, inhaling through the mouth, exhaling om. Or ah, if you're more comfortable with that. Ah. Keep going like that. Ah. Ah. 2 more breaths like that. Then just letting the hands rest in your lap, eyes can remain closed. Stay with the feeling. If your mind is really restless, just chant softly, ah, and come back to the breath, to your seat. to the feeling. When you're done, just stay as long as you like. When you're ready, I'm going to gently blink the eyes open if they've been closed, or let the gaze shift if you've been just gazing downward. Take in your surroundings with your eyes and pick one thing and look at it as if you've never seen it before. And then keeping the eyes open, we're going to extend our legs out in front of us, keeping the knees a little bit bent or even a lot bent. Do some very gentle forward folds with the eyes open. Inhaling the arms up, exhale, coming into your forward fold, very gentle. This is really just a way to transition back, just like we transitioned into the practice. This is a transition back out so that you can return to your day. 3 or 4 gentle forward folds, knees bent, very soft. And then when you're ready, we'll come back and close together. So come back to your seat. We'll put our hands palm to palm together in front of our heart. And we'll chant 3 times, Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So taking a nice inhale. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. 2 more like that. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you for practicing with me and practicing contentment and exploring what does that mean in your everyday life. So thank you.